Awesome. We are in record mode. So, hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi, guys. It's great to see each and every one of you here. So, how many of you are here because you want to be possibly farther ahead in your life than you are right now, but you're maybe not really sure how to get there? Is there anyone who can relate to that? Okay.
Totally.
And how many of you may speak better to your loved ones than you do to yourself at times? Does that ever happen? Sometimes we trash talk ourselves and we think, I would never speak to my best friend that way, right? Well, and how many of you are here because you just, don't really get the opportunity sometimes to have a session where you just get to chit chat with the girls, work through some of your stuff and maybe gain some new insights and inspirations?
Yes.
It's always a good thing, right? Excellent. Yay, that's Janet. Well, we're so glad that you guys are all here. So my name is Tinya Gray, and my good friend Marsha Vanwynsberghe is here with me and with us tonight. And we have created Truth and Transformation. So what that is a weekly call on a Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And it's something that we have committed ourselves to for the next 12 weeks as a give back. We just thought, you know what, a lot of the stuff what we've worked through together, we know there's a lot of other people out there that could maybe benefit from having that same place to unload, to learn, and to maybe work through some stuff, because we're all human. We don't come with a manual. And, sometimes shit happens and it's nice to be able to know how to work through it. So that's why we really, created this in the first place. So, as far as Marsha and I go, we're moms, we're healthcare professionals, we're women, shit happens. If you guys don't mind, if you've got noise in the background, you can just mute yourself in the bottom left. We don't mind the dogs and kids and furries.
Beautiful.
If you want to so then you don't have to worry about it. Somewhere you can mute it. We have a combined experience of about 50 years of helping people transform their bodies, transform their lives. We are coaches as well. We've both done a lot of research, education, experience, on personal growth, personal development, different methods of coaching, different methods of working through, transitioning people through breakthroughs. And a lot of that experience has been our own personal experience, from some of the things that we've had as situations, or challenges or hurdles, whatever you want to call them. So our mission is really simple. It is to provide women like you empowerment, education, and an environment to learn, to listen, and to laugh. Is that a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And each moment you'll be evolving and transforming, from the inside out. So you may have found your way here because you're looking for a quick inspiration to pick you up, or maybe because you're really ready and wanting to create a massive shift in your life. But regardless of why you're each here, we are so grateful that you are. And again, thank you for, dedicating some of your time here to be with us this evening. We're really glad you're here. So our intention is to make sure that you at least get to take away one thing. If you can take away one thing from every opportunity that we have, to learn, I think then it will have given you some value. Do you agree that every time we go someplace, or every time we listen to someone, or every time we read a book, listen to a podcast or whatever, if we can take at least one thing away, then we know that time was, well invested. And so we want to be able to help you have that same feeling when you leave each of our calls. And we're going to, provide you some resources that we've utilized that have made a difference for us or with our clients. Give you the opportunity to perhaps try some different tools that could work for you. So you've got some tools in your toolbox in case you, come up against a moment. And again, the takeaways. So we do encourage you to have maybe a favorite journal that you like to write in, or paper, whatever works for you, as well as a pen, a couple of pens, maybe in case your pen doesn't work. We also just ask that you know, as far as your screen goes, bottom left corner typically is where you'll find your microphone and your video. So you can turn the video off. If you got to go do your business, whatever you got to do, you can shut the video off. You can close the mic, shut the mic off if you've got some background noise happening there that you just wanted to keep it silent, which is totally fine. You'll still be able to hear us. And then the other thing is the chat box in the bottom. So there's a couple of people that are on here and not using mic or video, which is awesome. You can still chat in the chat box, and you can actually chat to each other independently or to everyone, okay? So whoever is not speaking between Marsha or myself will be manning the chat box to see if there's any questions or anything like that. So if you do have any thoughts or questions, feel free to put them in. we want this to be a discussion. This is not meant to be a lecture. We're not here to lecture you guys. This is meant to be a discussion and an open concept. We're here to have a conversation. Okay, it's really what we'd love it to be. So I want to just acknowledge my good buddy Marsha, because I'll go into her story in a second. But, you know, we all have those people that come into our lives. You know, they say people come in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think she came into my life for all three of those things. And we're lifers. We're not going anywhere. And, you know, sometimes we put things out there sometimes to, when we're looking for someone to sort of come into our world who feels the same way or maybe can understand or relate. And, you know, that's how Marsha and I happened upon each other, because she read between the lines on a Facebook post that I put out, and she realized that we did have a lot in common. And, you know, it was something challenging I was working through. She was in the same shoes, you know, with situation with her home. And so that's what really brought us together. And, you know, she's a person who never ceases to amaze me with some of the insights that she has. You know, I can call her just like I did yesterday and just said, I just need to unload. I just need you to listen, and I just need to unload. And I unload, ugly tear, baby cry, unload on Marsha, and she listened. And then I'm like, okay, now voice of reason. And then she would be my voice of reason, just telling me what I already knew internally, but sometimes we need to hear it back to ourselves so that it sticks. You know what I mean? And so I'm so grateful, Marsha, that you're always that person there for me. So I'm so glad to be doing this with you, because I think the two of us together, we've been able to help each other so much that it's just so valuable. You know, because we never know what we can learn from each other. Even on this call, we're not the only two people here that are here to teach. You know, sometimes through our conversations, we're going to learn a lot of stuff from you guys as well. And that's what we want. We want this to be, like I said, to be a conversation. So again, just saying that if you take away one thing, then our mission has been accomplished. Our goal has been reached, okay? So if it's okay with you, I'm going to share a little bit about my journey. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we share our story, you know, we could probably tell a novel. I'm not going to tell a novel. I'm going to relate the story to what the topic is tonight. And the topic today is about loving yourself, okay? Is about learning how to love yourself. And so as far as my story goes, I was a young girl who learned very early on that life could be hard. You know, it was a challenge. It was a hurdle. You know, every negative thing that could be said or heard in a house very often was in my home. There was a lot of love. There was a lot of heartache too. And I really felt that life was really hard, and you settled for what you got. And so fast forward, come to a point in my life where I'd been through some challenging relationships, you know, as a young woman. And, you know, one was somewhat abusive. And so when the first person who came along who seemed to completely love me from the inside out, I thought, okay, well, even though I'm not connected with him on a love level, because I really didn't even know what that meant, I just thought, you know, here I am, someone's going to help me take care of me, because I feel like I've just been fighting it alone for so long. And so, you know, I got married at the end of the aisle in my wedding dress, looking at all the guests, taking a deep breath, thinking, holy crap, I hope this works. And it didn't work, right? It didn't work. And I got two beautiful sons out of it. But what I did learn through that experience, and through many other experiences in working in the healthcare industry, helping people who have everything, amazing bodies, amazing health, lots of money, great jobs, great families, who feel empty inside because they didn't love themselves. And I thought, you know what, so many people deal with this. And it is actually almost an epidemic. And why do people feel so empty inside? And I thought, that is the mystery I want to solve. I'm going to get to that place where I learn how to have that one constant in my life, which is my love of myself. And everything else that happens is like a bonus. And when we love ourselves, as Marsha's going to share with you, amazing things come into our life. So that's a little bit of insight into my life. I'm the mom of two amazing young men. I, you know, work in an industry where I coach people every single day how to transform their bodies from the inside out, through fitness, through health, and through mindset. Because if we don't bust through this stuff, which is why we're here today, the fitness and the nutrition don't really make a difference, because it's this stuff first that makes the difference. So that's what I truly am passionate about. That's my purpose for being on this planet. And I can honestly say, you know, when I look at myself, that I can say with conviction, I really do love the person that I am. You know, I still sometimes fall into patterns, and you know, that can happen. but the evolution of this girl, Tinya, and where she's come from is pretty cool. And, you know, the fact that I'm able to share that with people from a place of not shame any longer of those things that I've, you know, experienced. It's not about the shame. It's about the journey and the growth. That's the celebration. So thank you for letting me share that insight on my life with you. What else? Okay, so chat box at the bottom, as I said. And what I'm going to ask is that we are only going to be on this call for about another half an hour or so. I'm just going to ask that you be present. I know sometimes people are doing, like, you know, texting, like on your phone. You might be doing your notes on your phone or whatever. But I'm just going to ask you, if you're not doing your notes on your phone, just turn your noise off and just put your device away for a little bit. This is your time for you. I don't want you to feel that you're distracted or kind of waiting for the bomb to drop on something else. Your guts will tell you. If there's anything major happening in the world that you need to be part of, your guts will tell you, and don't worry, we won't miss it. I promise you. Okay? Awesome. So how many of you were on the call last week? You just put your hands up quick. Call last week? Some of you were on the call last week? Okay, excellent. Or maybe you got to see the recording. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, we won't touch base on it too much right now, but last week's was about purpose. Okay, it was about living into your purpose, finding your purpose, first of all, you know, what that might be. How do you figure that out? It's a big question. And then how do you live into it? So those of you that have been here, I hope that you've been able to do a little bit of soul searching on that, a little bit more thinking. It may not be totally clear right now, but it might have started the whole waves of communication, right, within your mindset. Peggy, do you think that that's kind of happened? It started happening. Okay, so it's got some things stirred up, right? Yeah, sometimes we got to stir the pot a little bit, and it's kind of messy. It can be a little messy till we get through it, right? Yeah, okay. But I'm proud of you for taking action on that. Okay, so I have the honor of introducing our lovely speaker to you. So go through the formalities. So Marsha spent 23 years, the last 23 years, as a kinesiologist and a personal trainer. She has coached and mentored people on how to make physical changes and emotional transformations to their bodies and their lives. She works with her clients to examine their thoughts, their beliefs, their habits, and their actions, right? Because our bodies are a result of all of those things, right? Our lives are a result of all of those things. And Marsha has spent the last 5 years navigating herself through major life and family crises. She credits her personal growth, her commitment to the daily habits of mindset, exercise, and nutrition to being key factors in bringing her to this place today of sharing her story and impacting and supporting others. And so I give you Marsha. Yay, Marsha. Go for it.
Yeah. Wasn't she awesome? She was just awesome. She is just, thank you so much for that and for the introduction and for sharing your story. I can say, first off, thank you for tuning in and listening. I will go back to a second with Tinya. I can tell you that sometimes the most vulnerable points in your life can be the biggest points of growth. And when I saw her post, and I was pretty sure I could read between the lines, I knew where to say hello, maybe. That was about it. And decided to private message her. And I'll tell you, it has opened up a lot of doors and given me a source of support to go and call at all hours, go visit, have girl time, whatever it is. But it came from sitting there, her vulnerability of putting the post and my vulnerability of going, I think I know what she's talking about, and sent her a message. So don't hold yourself back, because there is so many people out there that some of the most amazing people you haven't even crossed paths with yet. So don't close yourself off. So thank you again. So this topic hits home for me. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna be pretty honest and real, which is how I tend to be. But this topic is something that really truly hits home. So I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to come back to my story partway through. But when I first dive in, what I want to do is, if you have a pen and paper, I want you to write down 1 to 2 words that you would use to describe yourself. Don't think, just write them down. And if you happen to walk past yourself in a mirror, what would be 1 to 2 words you would write down about yourself? Be brutally honest. Do not write down positive, negative, whatever first words that come to your mind. Now, if you ask one of your closest friends to describe you, what words would they say? And then simply, is there a gap between how you describe yourself and how your friends would describe you, your closest friends would describe you? I think we can all agree that there probably is a gap. And I can tell you, after doing a lot of work, a lot of reading, the size of that gap is related to the amount of work that we all need to do, okay? And the bigger that gap is, then the more room for growth, but the less easy, the more difficult it is to practice self-love, okay? So we want to change that gap. So I want to show something to you, and I'm hoping that this works. So just give me 1 second while okay, so let me go.
That chair has to go back.
Did it work? Can you see this? Tinya?
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
Can you see that,
I
Tinya?
showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board. We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
Marsha, we can't see it.
But then I could.
Marsha, stop it for 1 sec. Sorry, I was on mute, you guys. Okay,
Yeah.
so did you clicked on screen share?
Yep.
And then you have to double click on the picture that looks like your home screen. Is it on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, guys, hang on. Technical difficulty. We're just going to grab it. What's it called, Marsha?
Dove Real Beauty Sketches, the 3-minute one.
Hang in there, ladies.
Thank you.
You don't have to be uber smart at this stuff to do this kind of conversations.
Thank God.
Okay, Dove Real Beauty.
Yeah. 3 minutes. And then I would have had to click. Oh, okay, sorry.
Did you get it?
So would I have double clicked on the desktop one again?
Do you want to try it? Yeah, you have to double click it so we see your screen.
San Jose Police Department.
Is that my computer playing it now?
Yeah. That's yours playing it.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, ready for the movie?
Thank you.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys,
Yeah,
get the
that's fine.
popcorn.
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board. We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
It kind of protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature?
Kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I'd say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you,
Frozen.
and then they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes.
Sorry, Marsha, is it frozen?
It started and stopped, sorry.
Okay, do you want me to keep it going?
Try it. Just try it one more time. Like, well, not from the beginning, right from there.
Was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes. Very nice blue eyes.
So here we are. This is the sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's... She looks closed off and fatter, sadder too. The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy. I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right. And we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
He didn't tell me to get Kleenex.
I know. Sorry about that, ladies. Just show me your hand if you've seen that before. So is that new for a lot of you? It's powerful. It's very powerful. I have gone back to that video a number of times, and the first time I was just tears. Because I could relate. And I felt it was really important to share and start off with tonight to kind of put you in the mindset and think about the first few words that you wrote down about yourself. Self-love is so important because every relationship in your life, every single relationship you have, how much love you can give, how much you can how much you can care for others, you can forgive, every relationship you have comes from and is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. It truly, truly is. And how you see yourself and how you treat yourself. So if you're very, very hard on yourself and you have great relationship, great marriage, whatever that is, but you're really critical of yourself, I am telling you, you haven't even scratched the surface of what you can love somebody else, because it comes from you first. So that's hitting strong to start, but I wanted to because I think it's really powerful. And I have kind of come up with a few key steps that I think are important for getting rid of the garbage and crap so that you can figure out how to love yourself. Okay. The first thing that I feel is really important is letting go of your expectations. So when we were younger, we all had this vision of how our life was going to be. We all did, and we probably did for many years, what it was going to look like, who we would marry, what our kids would be like, how many we would have, what our job would be, financially, we would travel, whatever that was, we had pictures of what it would look like in our head and visions. And when you're little, it kind of starts out as a dream. And then as we get older, it becomes expectations that we judge ourselves on whether we are successful or not successful. And what happens is that we create this expectation that when we aren't reaching it, that we are, we're a loser, we're not successful, we're not as pretty, this, that. So that's the first expectation letting go of expectations would be the one thing I would say. And then also as well as letting go when we are dealing with and inundated with media and with pictures, and not just magazines anymore, we're talking about social media, and you're tied so tightly and seeing everything and seeing how happy everyone looks, and families are good and they have this and they have that. Whether they say it or not, we assume from looking at everyone else. So now all of a sudden we've got everyone else on this pedestal, and we've got ourselves way down here, not even a prayer of catching up to this make-believe thing that we've created up here. So talk about a gap. We've got a massive gap. So being hard on yourself in that leads to then second guessing and being critical, and it doesn't change anything, and it certainly doesn't bring the best out in you. And I start there today because that's where I was. I was broken. There's no question at all. I was broken. I was a very determined, strong-willed person who I had goals. I knew what I wanted to do, and very driven. Spent my life fixing everything, and fixing whether family situations, fixing this, fixing that. And I took it right into a job where I was a kinesiologist and personal trainer, and I still am. And I like to take on the clients that nobody knows how to fix the problems, help the clients who are busting through the barriers, and it's all about fixing. And ironically, that was what I had to learn not to do in my own family, because we dealt with some pretty serious, and still dealing with some pretty serious substance abuse issues with our kids. And I'll be very honest, it was certainly wasn't in my plan. It's not at all how I laid it out. During that time, I became very, very broken because I tried everything to fix it. I tried everything to show more love, to do this, to do that. And I gave virtually everything I had of myself to everyone else to fix it. And it didn't fix it. And at the same time, I was I tried to hide for a long time, but I couldn't because it wasn't a secret, and tried to hide, but was beaten down by friends, family, people that wanted to give suggestions, but came across as criticism. That only fed into what I was already doing to myself. So it just buried me, and it buried me. And it was in this spot of everything I had planned for myself was not how it was going to work, and nothing was working that way. And self-love was not happening at all. I was completely berating myself. And I finally had to come to a spot where I realized that that hole was going to swallow me up. It really was. And I couldn't live there. I couldn't function there. I didn't help myself or anyone else. So I had to choose to do something different. And in doing that, I had to really own what choices were mine and what could I control. And that always came back to me. Always came back to me. Okay, so learning to let go of what expectations you had for yourself and what your story was or was not supposed to be, and loving yourself for where you're at right now is what you have to do. I think that we could all go back and make different decisions at any points in our life. We could all choose to do something differently. Hindsight is a beautiful thing that we could go back and fix things. There's also a possibility that if we went back and changed and made different decisions, that we're still in this exact same place right now. It doesn't mean that it would change. It doesn't mean that you did something wrong to be here. Okay? So whatever past story you have told yourself over and over that you should have done something differently, the next time you do that, try this trick, because I do it with myself all the time. I should have done it this way. I should have tried this. I should have tried that. And I will literally say to myself, good, go back and fix that. And it's like, right, I can't. Okay? So that instantly rolls it off to say, I have to let that go because it's doing nothing but breaking me down. You cannot change others. You cannot force others to make decisions, to love, to do things. Really, truly, the only thing you can control is yourself. That is it. It is truly only it, okay? And the most powerful, sorry, I've dropped my book there. The most powerful thing that you have is choices, is your own choice. And no one can ever take that from you. You have a choice. You have a choice in how you respond, and you have a choice in how you react to every single scenario that comes to you. And you want to ask yourself, if I am making a choice that's going to help me move forward, or am I making a choice that's going to keep me stuck? Okay? And if you have those times where you are stuck, that is okay. Okay? It happens. As Tinya said yesterday, she called. It was one of those days. We have those days, but they're moments in time. They're not days and weeks and months. Okay? You can't stay there. It's just not a place to stay. I'll refer to Lisa Nichols a couple times. If you haven't ever followed her, she's got a fantastic story. We heard her in Vegas last year, and she said two things. I'll come back to another part of her story later. But one was that when you have those down days and you're stuck and you're in a really bad spot, think of it as being in a valley, and you can rent a room in a valley for a night, but you're not going to buy property and live there. So every time I sit there, I'm like, okay, I'm renting a room for a night, or I'm sitting on a park bench, but I'm not going to live here. So you can choose to live here. So ask yourself, what one thing in your life do you carry around with you? You can answer, you have to share it, that you carry around with you that is not serving you. What can you let go of? And what can you let go of that criticism of yourself of? The second thing is letting go of the 3 J's. And we use the 3 J's regularly: judgment, jealousy, and justification. Okay? Judgment, pardon? Oh, sorry. Judgment is something that, we want to say that we don't do, and we don't judge others. And I think that on some level, a lot of us do, and that is something that we're always working on. But I'm referring to judging of yourself right now. And whether you are successful, whether you have reached the goals that you were trying to do, whatever it was, let go of that judgment of yourself, because the more you judge yourself, I promise you, the more you're judging others without even realizing it. Okay? Jealousy serves absolutely no one. And it's a nasty, toxic thing. So jealousy is just, if you catch yourself and you're looking on Facebook and you look at someone's pictures and you're like, why can't I lose the weight like that? Why can't I be fit like that? Why can't I have this? And I'm going to tie it in later. You want to celebrate where people are at and let go of jealousy. So if you catch yourself doing it, you just face it, accept it, and say, okay, Marsha, that's enough. You don't need to do that, and let it go. The last one is justification. I'm going to be honest, this one took me a little bit to get through, because my personal life was a mess. It was an absolute mess. But I had a job where I had to work one-on-one with people and motivate them to take over their life, to take charge of their life, and to continue to move on. So do you think that my gap was big? My gap was like a freaking crater. Like I was a crater, and it was exhausting to be that out of integrity, to show the face over here of who I was, and then to be over here where everything was in shambles. One of the most freeing days I ever had was when I decided to step forward. We put a press release out, and I spoke live on CBC radio, and I shared my story from a parent's perspective. And when my clients all heard, everybody heard. And it was just like, it was the most freeing experience I have ever had. But it was the scariest thing, and it was the best thing I could have ever done. Okay? So where some of those scary things, huge moments of growth. When you catch yourself doing any of the 3 J's, it's really simple. Recognize it. You can't change it if you're not aware of it. Okay? Recognize it, accept it, feel it, and then change it. Nowhere in there did I say berate yourself for doing the same mistake over and over. Okay? You recognize it, you accept it, you feel it, and you change it. I don't even think a lot of people get to the change stage. You know why? Because we don't like to feel. We don't want to feel. Because feeling's crappy, feeling hurts. We don't want to do it. But I'm telling you, you have to feel. I'm going to give you another example. It took a long time to get to this point. And there was probably 3 years of muck. Like it was just big pile of shit. Messy muck. Okay. And I spent a long time. I didn't know how to get through it. And I was stuck in it. I was buried in it. And I just didn't even know what to do. And then all of a sudden, when I started to own my own choices and get to the other side, I had crawled through it to get there. And once you got to the other side, it was like, okay, I can see it now. But I spent so long trying to make a pile of shit look pretty. And it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look pretty. And I wasted so much time. Just feel it. And when you feel it, you can do something with it. So those are your 3 J's, to recognize it and move forward. The third point is to celebrate and not compare. Okay? So it falls a little bit with jealousy, but when we compare ourselves, comparison is truly the thief of joy. It is truly, that quote it is so key. It is truly the thief of joy. So when you are stuck in comparison mode, what you are doing subconsciously, okay, is you are looking at where a person is. You have no idea what their story is. You really don't, trust me, because I bet you most of you didn't know my story. You have no idea what their story is. So you are comparing yourself to something you know nothing about, right? So what a waste of energy that is. So you're comparing yourself to somebody there, and you are then also subconsciously telling yourself that I will never get there. I can't do what she's doing when you compare yourself. And instead, when you celebrate where a person is at, what happens is you actually open up the opportunity that everyone has the opportunity, okay? So there's abundance and opportunity everywhere for people to move forward, right? If you take that and get rid of the comparison, there's room for everybody. So celebrate everyone and celebrate where they're at. And I'm going to open my phone for a second because I put aside one quote that I really wanted to read that I found today that just stuck with me. So just give me 1 second while I open it up because I had it saved for tonight. Pardon me. Okay. Stop comparing where you're at with everyone else. It doesn't move you further ahead, improve your situation, or help you find peace. It actually just feeds your shame, fuels your feelings of inadequacy, and ultimately keeps you stuck. The reality is there is no one correct path in life. Everyone has their own unique journey. A path that's right for someone else won't necessarily be a path that's right for you, and that's okay. Your journey isn't right or wrong or good or bad. It's just different. Your life isn't meant to look like anyone else's because you aren't like anyone else. You are a person with your own, a person all your own, with a unique set of goals, obstacles, dreams, and needs. So stop comparing and start living. That one really, I just absolutely love that one because you can't compare and live at the same time. You can't. Okay? It keeps you stuck. So let go of that with the comparison. The fourth thing, listen to yourself. There is a deep internal, you can call it whatever you want. There's an internal voice. It's your soul. It's your gut. It's your instinct. Call it whatever you want to call it. Okay? But you need to listen to it. So what do you love? What do you not love? What makes you you? What makes you unique? What are your strengths? What lights you up? Tinya covered a lot of this on purpose last week. So it's a great, it's in that call, but I just wanted to touch on it. So now, if you know the things that you love to do, the things that light you on fire, the things that feed you, ask yourself, what actions do you do on a daily basis that represent self-love? Do you eat like you love yourself? Do you sleep like you love yourself? Do you read and grow like you love yourself? Do you exercise like you love yourself? Do you surround yourself with people who lift you up and encourage you? Do you do the things that you need to do that show you that you love yourself? That was a bit of an aha moment for me. This is not meant to be a criticism. This is meant to be an observation. And I'm being brutally honest because I've done it all, trust me. So in that point, I realized, and I will actually say those words to myself. I don't feel like exercising today because I never do, but I always feel good afterwards. And it's like, did I exercise today like I love myself? Did I take care of myself like I love myself? Your answer needs to be yes. It needs to be yes. And if it's not yes all the time, you need to get more yeses every day. That's what you need to shoot for. It's not perfection. Just get more yeses every day is what you want to shoot for. The fifth one is kind and compassion. If I ask you, are you all kind and compassionate people? And I fully would expect your hands to go up, right? Because you are. We care about other people. We care about how other people are doing. We see stories of people who are suffering and we feel for them. There's empathy there. But you cannot show more kindness and compassion to somebody else than what you do to yourself. Again, if you're not filling this part here and you're not showing kindness and compassion to yourself, trust me, there's a missing piece. There's more that you could give to somebody else. I mean, you need people in your corner. You need friends in your corner. Trust me, you don't need a ton. You need those friends in your corner who will call you on your crap. And they will say, stop it. Be kind to yourself. Yeah, you be kind to yourself. Okay. You know why? This one was an aha moment for me. I don't know about you guys, but there is no one in the world I would let talk to me the way that I talk to myself in my head. If a person talked to me like that, honest to God, I would probably hit them. I'd probably hit him because that's my reaction. I would never let anyone do that. So why would you let yourself do that? Okay. The last one is fulfillment. So how do you feel? How full is your cup? Right? I have actually used this analogy. Unfortunately, it's a bad example because my water bottle is almost full. But I have used this analogy for years with my clients. And I say to them, I ask them, all right, so you've got your water bottle. How full is your cup today? So if you're, what do you use mom? If you're a mom and you're busy schedules, whatever it is, work, jobs, personal, family, crisis, whatever it is. If your cup is low, you don't have a lot to give, right? So why is it when our cup is the lowest that we're actually the hardest on ourselves that we can't give more? It's kind of silly, because we haven't done anything to fill our cup. So go back to the things that you love that fill your cup and ask yourself, what do you do for you on a regular basis to fill your cup? Because it doesn't fill on its own. It doesn't. You don't wake up in the morning, it doesn't fill on its own. So whether that's food, exercise, reading time, downtime, yoga, walk, meditation, dog walk, exercise, I don't care what it is, you have your things that feed you. You need to do them on a regular basis to fill your cup. So I have used that example for a long time with clients. I heard Lisa Nichols explain it differently last year, and that just hit home for me, is the fact that we all are functioning from an empty cup. And then we're mad at ourselves because we can't give the way that we want to give. So what she does is she uses a cup and a saucer, and we fill our cup, we have to fill our cup in order to be able to give to others. But it's not from the cup that we give to others, it's from the overflow. So when the cup overflows onto the saucer, the overflow is what allows us to give back to others, and including ourselves. So Matt, forget the overflow. You guys are we're all functioning with this cup that's like a quarter full. So you have to find the things that allow you to fill your cup and overflow it as best as you can, so that you can continue to give to yourself and to give to others. So don't keep your cup empty and then be angry at yourself because you can't because you're not perfect. Because guess what? You're not. You're just not. So if you're always using that language to talk to yourself and to beat yourself down, you are not going to find ways to help yourself to move forward. It just won't happen. It just won't. And if you've been in that circle for a long time and haven't gone anywhere, ask yourself why. Not as a negative, just be honest and real with yourself. Ask yourself why. And what can I do to take that and to move it forward? So as a bit of a wrap up, letting go of expectations, right? Letting go of the 3 J's, the judgment, justification, and jealousy. You need to face it, accept it, right? Realize it, know that you're doing it, feel it, and then change it, right? And celebrate, don't compare, right? And listen to yourself, kindness and compassion, and fulfillment. So filling your own cup, whether it's your purpose, your cup, whatever that is. So if I can give you a couple of quick tips that I would take from that, I know there was a lot of information there, and it would be these are easy things. What could you let go of right now? What expectation have you had of yourself that you could just let go of right now? And say, you know what? That's just not even fair. I'm not even being realistic with myself. I'm a goal shooter, okay? Don't say, I'm not saying don't strive for anything. I'm saying, what's that thing you keep hanging on to yourself and that you keep being critical of yourself that you need to let go of? What part of you can you celebrate? So what part of you that has got you right here, right now, can you celebrate? Find something that you have done, something that you have overcome, something that you have grown through that you can celebrate. Can you walk past a mirror and say, I love you to yourself? Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's creepy, isn't it? We've done those challenges, and it's hard. I understand it's hard, but start to do that, honestly. If you look in the mirror and you have a hard time doing that, then that tells you where there's room for growth. Okay. Quick aside. I grew up, now there's lots of redheads. When I grew up, there was hardly any redheads. Oh, you name it. Milkman jokes. I was the only redhead in my whole family. I had all kinds of jokes. And I used to be in the beginning, I used to just be like, okay, it's a redhead. And it was a carrot red. And it was hard and embarrassing. Eventually I got to the point where, like, I like my hair. I am. No one else has it. It's pretty cool. That's how I took the attitude to it. It took me a while, but learn to celebrate what makes you different. It's all good. Learn to celebrate that. And I was going to say, any other nuggets there? Celebrate yourself? No. The resources, couple resources that I used, the Have It All Women's book by Susan Sly. It's a great book. It's an easy read. It's a real eye-opener. It's a great book. Learning to Love Yourself by Gay Hendricks. Gay, and then Hendricks. And there's a new book out right now that I just got. I haven't read it. I just started. Is Whatever Arises, Love That. It's called Whatever Arises, Love That. Matt Kahn, Kahn. And it's about loving yourself where you're at right now. We're all on a journey, okay? We're all on a journey. And we're not just going to show up at the end and it's going to be all perfect. There's so many lessons that we're learning along the way, and we're all growing and we're all changing. And that's what we need to love ourselves along the way. We need to give ourselves some space and respect the process of what we're going through. So thank you so much for letting me share my tips on self-love and my story. And we're going to go, and Tinya's going to open up if anybody has a few questions. Next week, we're going to be covering Tinya speaking, and she's speaking on letting go. And that's a massive topic. So, and I know she's done a lot of work on that, and we'll knock that one out of the park. So if you have any other questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Awesome. You guys, let's give it up for Marsha. Woo!
Thank you.
So good. Oh my gosh. So many amazing nuggets and takeaways there. Janet's saying thank you, Marsha, in the chat.
You're welcome, Janet.
So many things hit home for me, and I'd love for you guys to maybe do a shout out or a share. Was there anything in particular that was kind of like an aha moment for you guys? Something that you wrote down there, something that was a little inner ding?
You're welcome.
If you want, unmute yourself and speak up, guys.
Hey, Marsha, thanks a lot. That was amazing. It's Monica here.
Hey, Monica.
Oh, hi, Monica. How are you?
I'm doing great. The thing that really was a light bulb moment is the actions that I take. Like when I say I don't want to work out. You said, is that something that represents self-love? So when I say I don't want to work out, I say to myself, you know what? That's not self-love. I need to love myself, so I need to go out and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing. Like when I want to go to the fridge, just step back and say, is that self-love?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is, isn't it? It's a great, and I use that question regularly. I honestly do. So I would, oops.
Karen shared her screen. Thanks, Karen.
It's okay.
There we go.
All good. All good, Karen.
I'm figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
That's a great share, Monica.
Thank you, Martha.
Thanks for that tool.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Peggy, did you want to go, Peggy? And then we'll ask Karen because Karen's got her hand up.
Okay, sure. I was just going to say a lot of it really hit home. That video was very powerful. You didn't tell me I needed Kleenex.
I'm sorry.
One thing I kind of found, I don't know if really an aha moment, but I found interesting when you said about being kind and compassionate, you can't show it to others if you don't show it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of part of what I do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that very interesting because I know I'm very critical of myself, and I'm the one that walks by the mirror. I never look in a mirror, actually, per se. I actually think it's funny at work above our sink when you're in the bathroom, there's a mirror right there, and I'll often leave and think, oh shoot, I forgot to look if there was something in my teeth. Like I don't even look in it. It's right above me. So and I like the cup and saucer analogy.
Yeah, that's something you can start to work on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll try. I'll start tomorrow at work.
Not try. Yes.
Can I add to that? Can I jump in on that for a second, and then we'll go to Karen? So you know what, Peggy? You know what how my take on that is, and this might relate. You might find this relatable as well. Is that when I was working with a coach last year, Jeff Combs, because those of you that were on the call last week, you know, Marsha and I, what we do have in common initially was that we both have 2 boys that have dealt with addiction. So both of us, 4 kids out of, us parents we dealt with kids who chose that path. So when I was working with Jeff Combs, because he's a recovered addict himself, he's hardcore, he's a tough ass. I knew that, I had to be ready to work with him because I would have been in fetal position on the couch if I wasn't ready to work with him. And it was to the point where I needed someone to stop holding my hand, and I needed someone to give me some tough love so that I could rise above and sort of be the phoenix rising in the situation, so I could be strong enough to support my kids but not enable them and everything else, just as Marsha has done, and that we've done for each other. But one thing he said to me one day was, he said, Tinya, he said, I know that you love to do what you do. I know that you love to give to others, and I know that you're really good at it. And people come to you, they're drawn to you because of how you're able to help see inside of them. You're able to help them move forward. But he said, you give to the point that your bucket is so empty, and then you're broken. Mm-hmm. And then you're broken for a while, and you rebuild yourself, and then you go out and repeat the pattern again. And he said, that's the challenge. He said, it's about finding the balance, giving to yourself, like Marsha says, fill the cup, let the cup run over, and then give. And then what you give comes back tenfold, but not if you're broken. Right? And so if that helps you, that was a way that I could relate to that, because I thought, okay, that makes total sense to me. Being a people pleaser is totally different than giving yourself kindness and compassion so that you can give kindness and compassion to others. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Karen, you had your hand up, honey. Are you unmuted, Karen? Karen, can you hear me? Let me just see if I can unmute her. Hold on a second.
I don't think she's muted.
She's not muted. Karen, can you hear me? Okay, if you want, type what you were going to say in the chat, and we'll just do it that way. Does anyone else have a share or any ahas or anything like that? You don't feel you have to say anything, but if you did want to do a share or something like that, we love to hear it. No? Okay. So Karen, if you wanted to say what you were going to say in your chat, then we'll come to that. So I'm just going to carry on here because I do want it to be respectful of your time. Yvonne has to go. Bye, baby. See you later. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay. So Marsha gave you some great calls to action, right? So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, again, we want to give ourselves the gift, right? So in loving ourselves, we want to dedicate, we have, 86,400 seconds in a day. How many do we actually give to ourselves besides taking a shower, brushing our teeth, and going to the bathroom? Mm-hmm. Probably not a lot, right? Yeah. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to give yourself 10 minutes a day for the next week. Do you think you could carve out 10 minutes a day for the next week? Mm-hmm. Just put on some nice quiet music. Don't put down anything with words, anything distracting. If you're ADD kid like me, you can't handle words with music because then you start singing and you get thinking and you get thrown off. It doesn't work. I need no words in my music when I'm working. Okay. So what I want to do is I want you to spend the 10 minutes and look at the things that Marsha asked you to do. Okay. Look at where am I in my life are there the 3 J's? I'm going to start to take notice of that. Whether you put an elastic on your wrists, and if you do any of the 3 J's, you smack the crap out of your wrist, wake yourself up and be like, holy, that hurt. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. All right? Whatever it is, but start to take notice of when those 3 J's come up. She also talked about, the being kind and compassionate to yourself. She talked about asking yourself, is doing this loving myself or not loving myself? Is making this decision, to eat my 5th piece of chocolate cake, loving myself or not loving myself? 1 piece of cake might be loving yourself because you might friggin' like chocolate cake. Enjoy the cake, don't stress about it. But you don't, kind of balance it out, right? Asking yourself, it's a beautiful day, it's sunny out, but I've got so much work to do, I can't even take 10 minutes to go for a walk. Is that loving yourself? The work will be there when you get back, I promise. And housework never goes away, I promise. It's always there. So give yourself the time, okay? So can you commit to giving yourself 10 minutes a day for the rest of the next week to pay attention to some of these things? Make a little journal note. Write some things that you're grateful for. You know, how did I love myself yesterday? How am I loving myself today? Or what am I going to do today that I like to do? You know, there's that book that's been sitting on my bedside table for 2 months now. I haven't cracked it open. I'm going to take 10 minutes and read today. Whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a lot, but start somewhere. Okay? You guys agree to that? Perfect. The mirror work. So how many of you could go to the mirror right now, look in the mirror, and say, you know what? I love you. You're so amazing. I love you. Without being totally weirded out or feel uncomfortable or start to cry.
It's okay to say no. It's practice. It's
right. Yeah. I know for me, when I first started doing it, ball session, super ball session, I'd be like, ugly cry, right? So now, you know, and here's the thing is that we all have a body. Our bodies are all different. Our body is a result of our feelings, our thoughts, and our actions. So guess what? We created it. Mm-hmm. We can change it. It's totally up to us. And where it starts is here, guys. So when you start loving and appreciating, you know, this one vessel that you have for your soul and spirit to move around on this planet, and you can look into your eyes and look into your soul. Like when I look into people's eyes, I don't see this. I see inside. I look inside. Look inside your own eyes and tell yourself, I love you. What's one thing you can tell yourself that you love about yourself? And say it with conviction and keep saying it until you feel it. Even if you're sitting there and you're going, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Eventually it's not going to be uncomfortable, right? And then the next time you're going to go wide mirror and you're going to go, damn. Yeah, right? Awesome. So I'm going to get you guys to work on that. Maybe not so much, but maybe. That'd be cool too, right? Okay, awesome. So next week's topic, Marsha touched on it today too, is letting go. All right, she talked about letting go. And sometimes it's like, yeah, we know that we should let go. Where the frig do we start on that one? That's like a can of worms, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if there's lots of stuff to let go. So I'm going to share with you some of the tips and tools that have worked for me, because here's the thing, feelings come up for a reason. All right, the challenge is if we stuff them because of past traumas, past emotions, past hurts, past upsets, things someone said to us, you know, an experience we went through, if we stuff all that, what happens? We get sick. We're not happy. We're miserable. We don't understand why. You know, some people get depressed. Some people act out. We either completely regress, right, and can't talk about anything, or we explode at certain times because we're just bursting over and we haven't dealt with it. So it's going to come out at some point, and it could be the cat crossing, you know, whatever, or something. So it's going to make you explode. All right, these different things that can happen. So I'm going to teach you guys how to feel what you're feeling and let it go and let it move through you instead of having it paralyze you like Marsha talked about today. Think that'll be a good thing? Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so on that note, this has been recorded. All right, I'm going to actually stop the recording right now.